Introducing new Moth Be Gone. Welcome back to WETT The Splash, the home of all your naughty little secrets.
We are live from the scene of the accident, and the death toll has climbed to a staggering rate.
A wise man once told me, anybody with a steady hand and a box cutter could be a rapist.
Whoa. Holy shit.
That's true.
I mean, yeah, but
You know?
Jesus.
Hey, not every word of wisdom is going to be like great. Sometimes they're just true. Back nine problems.
No!
That's how you wanted. You guys didn't get your ad last week, all right? There you go. Oh, boy. Are you fat?
Yeah,
If you're fat and you're listening to this,
yeah.
but you're like if you're 3X and under fat, not like overboard, we're ready to die fat, but 3X and under, go to Back Nine Problems, because I'll tell you what, whether or not you're a golfer, you're going to look good in those shirts. They're comfy.
Yes.
They're soft.
Yes.
They're moisture wicking. They're UV protectant.
Yep.
They're four-way stretching.
Four-way stretch.
And what all of that means as a fat? It means that your shirt doesn't get soaked when your big ass is just like leaking grease all day.
Yeah.
All right. It also means that
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna stink from leaking grease all day. It just kind of disappears. It evaporates instead of just like a cotton shirt where it becomes like a sponge. You know what I'm saying? Just a nasty, just a Warhammer, gross. Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering
Smells
tournament.
like a Smash Bros tournament.
Oh my gosh! When you walk into the room and it's 4 degrees hotter and the air is thick, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh boy, you're not gonna get that wearing Back Nine Problems.
There's been a couple of times I've gone into a tournament for Smash Bros. And it's been exactly that. And I legit was very tempted to turn around and leave.
I walked into one of those at that card shop, the one that I used to go to back when years ago. I was delivering a pizza. There was condensation on the windows. Bro.
That's all sweat and shit.
The amount of funk that the room had to collectively bring together to condensate the windows on the inside is nuts.
Yeah, dude, that's all sweat, fucking.
Oh, just ass, just
air.
Just a virginity everywhere. Just not one lost.
Oh,
Everybody
man.
was really good at holding on to theirs.
And if it's in a game studio, that means all of that bacteria, I'm sure is in there in the air. That's collected on every case, every surface.
Dude, we got this stank factory down the street. I'm not gonna name it, but it's called the bird that dies and comes back games, and they've got
That's pretty good.
essentially a server room in the back of that thing where they've got a bunch of pinball machines.
Oh yeah. So sick.
And they hold those tournaments.
So sick. Yeah.
So it is cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you go in at before nerd time, right? Noon.
Before
the sun starts to come down and they can, get out.
They come out in hordes.
Yeah, dude.
In unified units.
I'm pretty sure 6 hits, 4 p.m. hits.
Yeah.
And 18 of them walk in all together. They all came together somehow.
Doritos,
dude,
Cheetos.
It's you're mixing all of this all these pinball machines that generate heat.
Yeah.
With just all of this stank.
They have some fighting games and shit too now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I was just in there the other day and gosh.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
I mean, nobody was in there and it lingers.
Mm-hmm.
It's wow, I could smell it in the carpet. It's like going to a 24-hour fitness.
Yeah, and that the people that work there, because they've been working there for decades now, I think, right? Have
Since
probably
it opened,
they're probably numb to it now. Right?
No, they don't smell that shit anymore.
Like you get numb to your own stank.
Yeah.
Right?
There's no way they smell it. If they do, they would have left by now.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh. But mixing the heat of the electricity as well as the heat of all the bodies together. Oh boy, what a stank! But I'll tell you what,
install a better fucking ventilation system in there.
They need to start going outside and shit every now and then.
Yeah, that too.
I think we need to promote nerds playing outside.
That'd be kind of cool.
Canopy it off,
like an amphitheater gaming space, dude. That'd be sick.
You know what I'm saying? Like a big old circus tent. You know what I'm saying? With where it's just open walls.
It might be just because I'm stoned, but if somebody's listening that has access to millions of dollars, that might be $1 million idea.
Yeah, dude. You know, you put in
and
some of those
a gaming amphitheater specifically.
Yeah,
you know,
you could put in you know, those giant heaters for the winter.
Yeah,
so they'll they can still be outside and
if
not
it's
die.
insulated properly, right, and you have enough bodies, it warms up naturally. You know?
It's true.
From just being in the auditorium, you know, unless your AC is just fucking gusting, which ours can, right?
Yeah.
If you just have it off, people just being in a room, just like 75 is enough to fill like a 300-foot plus room.
Oh
you
yeah,
know, right?
Oh gosh,
like it's plenty.
Just
know?
just fumes.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, you know where you don't smell fat, stinky people? On the golf course, and that's why
true.
Back 9 Problems is our sponsor today.
That's right.
Promo code thickness, all lowercase.
I got excited about the amphitheater.
You get 10% off. Look, I mean, I don't know. They probably haven't come out with a new shirt because they don't need to right now. They're all fantastic.
No, yeah. You just
You know
get
what I'm
you already got a wide variety,
Yeah.
good picks, hats,
Oh,
the
yeah.
divot fixer.
Oh, your boy-
the back brag.
Your boy's starting to lose weight. I'm wearing a 3X shirt right now. I'm almost ready to get back into my back nine.
dude, and look even better
You know
doing
what I'm
it,
saying?
bro.
Just looking
you know?
huge.
And it's not just the shirt that enhances it; it's you because you have the shirt on.
Oh yeah, you're just gonna feel
yeah.
that much more
Hell
confident
yeah.
wearing it.
Yeah,
you know?
back
like,
9 problems.
like I'm just a big fat monster. But when I'm wearing that shirt, people are like, "Damn, man, like
Damn.
you look huge. Like you've been working out." It's like, no, just squeezed in the right directions.
Yeah, exactly.
This is-
Hey, where'd you get that? And then the camera like tightens in on you, and you spin your head over your shoulder. Back 9 problems.
Yeah, and I take my shirt off, it all just falls apart. Like,
and the brand logo comes up right there. And ad.
Oh yeah, then you lift your shirt up and like it's like when you break one of those cans with the muffins in it, you know, it just explodes outwards.
Oh yeah,
Just white froth on all 360 degrees coming outside of the bottom of the shirt. Just fat black
A little
nine,
muffin top.
back 9 problems, 10% off. Why
Yes.
not? Go get you one.
Hell yeah.
Go
get
get
you
you
one.
one.
Hell yeah.
Oh man.
So you've been losing weight, bro.
Yeah, you know,
Dude, Thickness has been on a journey, bro.
I've
Like
been
he's been
moving
on
on.
many, but it sounds like and feels like he's on that like big one again.
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. I
which
think
is sick.
this is gonna be that time. I think like where I lost that big chunk of weight years ago. I think
This is
I
the
think
next phase.
we're on the path
This
again.
is phase 2, bro.
Yeah.
You
Like,
know,
I'm killing it. I'm sober.
yeah.
And I think a big part of being sober is that like it's the nighttime eating that goes away
Mm-hmm.
because I'm one of those kind of people like I lost all my weight fasting the first time
Yeah.
and running,
Which makes sense.
fasting and running,
Yeah.
and like I even as a big fat guy I can be hungry and be okay. Some people can't. You know, it's not, fasting isn't for everybody. Some people literally will tell you like, oh no, I've tried fasting and it just made me sick or tired or weak. And
Their
it's like,
body falls apart. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like for me, like it's like I can go until you taste the iron. You know what I'm saying? Like that's eventually like if you go, you go like 20 hours, then all of a sudden you'll start burping up what tastes like, nickels. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't bother me. Like I can.
Do you know what that is, perchance?
That's your body entering like ketosis.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's like that's like the biggest sign or the first sign is you start to taste nickels.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, like it starts eating like fat away or something.
Like it's doing
or?
something. Yeah.
Huh.
But I just know that like that's how you were supposed to know when you were entering it. And
Maybe the gut biome is like changing or
yeah,
something.
and like that's how I used to know when it was time to eat back in the day. It was like once I got that first burp
right.
that tasted like that, I was like, okay,
Okay,
cool.
time.
Like
Yeah.
we're in our window now. Like go get something to eat. But and like
Interesting.
when you are hungry as shit, if you distract yourself, you realize like within 20 minutes it's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even if it's like painful hunger. Like
Right.
and I get those still sometimes where like it actually kind of hurts, like almost like gas for a 2nd You're like, oh geez, like that doesn't feel good. It still just goes away. It always goes away. You know, people when they were cavemen went days without eating sometimes because you didn't get the hunt. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not like it's gonna, for me it seems fine.
Sure.
The problem is that at nighttime I'd be so fucking loaded that like, you just keep eating.
Right.
You have some chips and then like, cause that was so salty, you're like, I need something sweet. So then maybe you crack a soda. Well, now you want some more chips cause you got to finish that soda.
Yeah.
Or maybe you have like some candy or like ice cream. And then you finish the ice cream, you're like, that was really good. I kind of want something salty. And then you go back to the chips.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd have like a bag of hot Cheetos next
Endlessly,
to me.
dude.
And be eating like Ben and Jerry's ice cream. And it'd be like Cheetos, ice cream, Cheetos, ice cream. Like, and now, like, now I just don't have that appetite.
Yeah.
You know, like the other day I got home after a long day, worked out and went to work. Didn't eat like a crazy amount of food. My roommates made like a tuna casserole. I took one scoop. I was fine. Went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like I didn't need to just keep eating and eating and eating. And like, I'm 6 days sober. I lost 6 pounds this week.
Fuck yeah, dude.
You know what I'm
Hell
saying?
yeah,
like,
bro.
and I think it's literally all just because it's like at nighttime I'm just not doing that shit anymore.
Right. Yeah, you're occupying yourself in
yeah.
a different way now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, sobriety is strange.
Yeah.
Because you know what? They're right when it comes to like, you know, because as a stoner, everybody always talks about like, oh, well, it's not addicting because there's no withdrawals, right? Like with alcohol, there's very clear withdrawals. With nicotine, there's very clear withdrawals. Like you'll shake, you know what I'm saying? Like your body won't even function right. With weed, it literally like, I can't tell you a single moment that I felt a withdrawal. The only thing I've had is every now and then you go, oh, I kind of want to smoke a bowl right now, and then you just don't.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like with nicotine, like where you go, I don't want to smoke cigarettes. I'm going to slap somebody in the fucking mouth if they look at me weird, though. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I will say I've had some moments this week where I'm on full tilt. I almost killed a fella.
Yeah.
Oh, I almost killed a fella. Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh. I put the fear of Jesus into a fella this week.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All
I mean,
right,
it got
all
to the point where, like, I was pretty ready to just go to jail. Like,
Damn. Okay.
I was pissed.
Damn.
I was fucking not happy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm trying to find my way around this area that I don't have much experience in. My GPS is telling me to turn down streets that don't exist. Maybe they did at one point, but they're the kind of streets where like the street ends, there's a sign that it ends, and then clearly some like grass and stuff, and then the other street. And it wants me to turn down that. And you can't, right? Like, so that doesn't connect. So I'm getting a little lost. Not that big of a deal. I see a little driveway thing in front of some condos that I can use to turn around. So I pull into it, and this guy, and I'm doing like a fucking 8-point turn to try to get out with my van. And this guy in this cute little Ford SVT truck comes in, parks like nose to nose with me, pretty much. When there's plenty of space, right? Like I could have easily like gotten around him if he didn't do that, right? So he clearly blocks me in. It's on purpose. Even if it's not on purpose, then be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
But so and I'm on the phone with somebody. I say, hey, I gotta call you back because this guy's blocking me in. I hang up. I open the door to my van. He's only like 15 feet maybe away from me, and I yell out, hey, sir, I'm sorry. I'm actually just trying to get out of here. Ignores me. And I was pretty loud, bro, and he was pretty close. If he didn't hear me, he's got headphones in. He doesn't have headphones in. He's ignoring me. So I was like, oh, okay, we're doing that. So I slam the door of the van, and I feel my heart, like adrenaline just spike immediately. Like I'm ready. I'm just so like, no way, I'm getting justice right now. So I follow him to his front door, and I get up on his shoulder, and I yelled, hey, into his ear. Yelled it into his ear because he's going to hear me this time. And he turns around. He does one of those like kind of flinch things. He turns around, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm just trying to get out of here, and you just blocked me in, and I know you heard me." And his response is, "Well, this lady's parked in front of my garage, so once she moves, I'll move, and you can get out." Which is just the pettiest shit in the world.
Yeah.
So I said, "Oh, we're doing that," and I walked away quickly. Walked back to the van. Threw the top half of my toolbox across the van, knowing he can hear it. I pull out my 15-inch aluminum pipe wrench. It's a big fucking pipe wrench.
Yeah.
And it's aluminum, so it's easy to swing, but still does a lot of damage.
Right.
So,
But he doesn't know that, though. I'm sure.
No.
Yeah.
So I pull out this big pipe wrench as he comes around the corner, and he all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, you were just trying to get out." I was like, yeah, I'm just trying to,
fucking piece of shit,
and I'm just looking at him with death in my eyes, just like,
dude.
yeah, I'm just trying to move,
yeah,
bro.
let me out, you dickhead.
It's like, and then he immediately hopped in his stupid little truck, moved it just a little bit that he needed to, and I got around and got out.
I don't know why people fucking want to do that shit.
King
I don't
of the
understand.
fucking parking lot over
why,
here.
Like, what even? You didn't do shit. Why was that provoked?
No.
You know, like,
I
don't understand why people do that.
I'm
shit.
just some innocent dude that's trying to get out, and because somebody else pissed you off, you think you're in charge of the world.
Yeah.
And that everybody else has to suffer for you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I will kill you.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's like there's lethality behind you. Okay.
Yeah,
All
dude.
right,
I am not going to take this from you, sir. So you're going to move, or every window on that cute little truck of yours is going to need to be replaced.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm not going to hit him with it.
Yeah,
I'm going to fuck his truck up.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to keep fucking his truck up. Like,
until he does something about it.
Yeah, until I need to hit him with it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, like, you can argue that might have been like a mood swing or something from withdrawal, you know?
Yeah,
but, like,
yeah.
you know, I
A little column A, column
that's a
B.
shitty fucking scenario.
Yeah, I mean, that's
period.
That's
you
being
know?
clearly disrespected when it's
Yeah.
100 degrees outside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, withdrawals are not. It's hot enough.
Right.
Like,
Right.
your people are going to go nuts. You know, and I've been seeing that a lot this week. Like, just people just losing their fucking mind, man. Like, some guy, like...
Tilting.
Yeah, like, I parked in this weird spot because all I had to do was put a couple screws in the door. And this guy comes out, and he immediately comes up to me. He's like this big dude. He's big, but like just fat big, you know, like not strong. He's not like, he doesn't have like big shoulders and big arms. He's just got a power gut.
Yeah.
And he's older, right? So I know it's like, you know, he wants to be a big man, but I'll fucking fuck this guy up. And he's like, hey man, you better move your shit right now or they're going to tow it. And I was like, I get it, like, but there was nowhere to park. I'm only going to be here for like 20 seconds. I don't even need to talk to the person. I just need to put these screws in this door. And he laughs. He's like, okay, well, they're going to tow it. And I was like, and I turned around. I was like, are you going to be the little bitch that calls the tow truck company? And then he, you know, he's obviously that turns into, what did you say? And he starts walking up on me and I just start walking up on him. And then all of a sudden his employees pop out or coworkers. And they're like, just basically got him to calm down and get away. Because I think they're looking, I don't know, like, there was no part of them that looked to me like they wanted to jump me. It more looked like they wanted to save him. You know? So, like, I wasn't really concerned about it. Like, it was just more like...
Let's just not deal with this in the first place.
Yeah,
you know?
dude.
Like, come on, Jerry. Chill the fuck out, dickhead.
Yeah, he doesn't
you know?
need to be king of the fucking parking lot,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Like, he had no fucking reason to. Also, like, this, like, sarcastic laugh thing about, like, oh, you stupid fucking kid. Like, they're just gonna, don't listen to me because it's gonna happen to you. And it's like, I'd like to see him try, bro.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him try because, first of all, I know I'm only going to be here for 2 minutes, tops. I've told you I'm going to be here for like 2 minutes, tops. Where in this world is there enough time for a tow truck to get here?
Yeah.
Even if you did call them.
Yeah.
Dude, by the time you're off the phone, I'm already going to be back in it, which means you're just taking your time to be an asshole.
Right. He just wanted to feel powerful and win over somebody.
He just needed to be able to be like, nope, you got to go because I said so. And I'm over here like, stand up then, motherfucker, because I don't like my job right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not smoking weed right now. And like, I just don't. Like,
there's a whole lot of clarity right now, you know, and I'm seeing a lot of bullshit, and I'm wanting to fucking get rid of it.
It's all in a tint of red. Everything I see.
Yeah.
You fucking bastards.
Yeah, dude. You know, honestly, like, it's all in hindsight. As much as all of that shit was irritating for sure. I mean, I guess I could say that, you know, there is probably a scenario where maybe you could consider that withdrawals, I guess, I suppose, you know. It's just the tilting aspect, but it's also the exterior. I don't know, also, even if you were sober to begin with, right?
Yeah.
You probably, the situations you've been in lately is still bullshit.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
right?
that's the thing. It's like both of those 2 times, even though they just happened to be this week, like sober or not, it was somebody just deciding to be an asshole to me because they felt like they could.
Right.
And then deciding that because I spoke up for myself that they want to try to escalate something. And me just not backing down. Like, I think the difference is it's not necessarily withdrawals as much as, like, if I was stoned, I probably would have just ignored it a little better, you know, because it slows you down and makes you a little bit more humble. You think about what you're doing a little bit more, and I maybe would have just laughed it off. So as much as, like, I don't think that's a withdrawal as much as it is just, like, maybe I wouldn't have cared as much.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when the dude blocked me in, if I was stoned, I would have been like, well, then I'm taking a nap. You know what I'm saying? I would have just cranked the AC, cranked the music, rolled the windows down to be an asshole, and just blasted music until he was ready for me to leave.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, dude.
But sober me was like, no, I've got somewhere to be, and you think you're the king of this parking lot, and I'm going to go ahead and take you down. Like, which, I mean, I don't need to be doing that either. I'm not, trying to say like go threaten and try to fight everybody that injustices you in this world. Like I should be better about just kind of being calm and like just ignoring it and understanding that their life sucks. But this particular week with everything that's been going on with me, I'm more likely to just stand up for myself. Like just not
totally.
taking this bullshit.
Totally,
I'm eating enough bullshit, so I'm not taking it from a stranger. I'll take it at home and I'm taking it at work. Here, no. I have some control here. I will kill you.
Yeah. So you can't necessarily justify mood swings in that scenario. No, for sure. Have you had any headaches or anything like that? That's good.
No, it's weird. Like, I thought, because I've been stoned easily 11 years. Easily. Like, I know I started
pretty much every day, right?
2013.
Yep.
2013. August of 2013 is when I started working at Gurgenspiegels, which means June of 2013 is when I got fired from the hookah lounge. And I started smoking right when I got fired from the hookah lounge. And I started working at Gurgenspiegels and immediately started dating a girl that worked there that was a stoner, like a hippie stoner. And she was the one that got me to like start wake and baking. She was the one that got me to start like showing up to work high. Because it wasn't a big deal.
Right.
Like we were folding boxes. She was also the one that made me realize that even though in my head I was stoned as shit, on the outside it didn't look like it.
Right.
I'd be sitting there stoned folding boxes in my head way too slow. And she'd be like, no, you don't even, like, no, you're fine. You don't look any different than you did like a week ago.
It's about how cool you play it.
Yeah. So, like, immediately I found out it's like, oh, I could be stoned all the time here and people just don't seem to know. The customers don't know. My boss, for some reason, doesn't know. So why not? Like, I mean, it gets me through having a dumb job like delivering pizza.
Right.
At that time, just making pizza. But
yeah.
So then, I mean, I dated her for like a year. In that year, I think that was the period of me becoming and evolving into just like an all-day stoner. Whereas before I started dating her, it was like a nighttime fun giggles with the boys. Started dating her, it just became like I live high now. Yeah. And I know I've been high ever since. And like it's every day. Wake up, smoke bowls, go to work, probably be sober by the time I leave, I guess, because I don't smoke at work. Especially not with what I do. When I was delivering pizza, I got stoned the whole day.
Well, yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
Every
There was
day.
no reason not to.
No, and like if I took I lived right next to the store. So if I took any delivery in that general direction of my home, I would stop on the way back and hit the bong. You know what I'm saying? And like, rest in peace, EJ. Like, he would stop at my house and hit the bong, even if I wasn't there. I could be working with him, and he would still stop at my place and hit the bong on the way back from delivery.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how we operated.
That was kind of cool, too. I'm sure that also felt fun, to do. Right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Or like, there'd be times where I'd show up on my break, and his car's outside the house already because he's fucking on his lunch or just stopping by.
He's like, oh, we're going to vibe. Let's go, bro. Hell yeah.
We're both just like in our uniform getting high as fuck, knowing that we're about to go back. Dude. Taking huge dabs, just not even having the courtesy of throwing in eye drops afterwards. Just going for it, And then it definitely evolved into a point where I was like, okay, so now nobody knows. Like I got pulled over once. I went through a DUI checkpoint, stoned. Cop had no idea. He just recognized me because I sold him a TV when I worked at Target. You know what I'm saying?
Nice, that's cool.
And then there was plenty of times where I delivered pizza to DUI checkpoints. And, like, that's not cool. Like, there'd be times where, like, I'd go on my break, I'd get retarded high.
Word.
And then they'd come back, and, like, it's first come, first go with the deliveries. So I'd come back, and it just happens that I'm the one getting the DUI checkpoint delivery. And I'm like, guys, I'm really fucked up.
Yeah.
You're going to go send me to all of the police?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And it was never a problem. I never got, like, a weird look from one.
Nope.
I don't know if it was just one of these, like, I don't care because you're a pizza boy. Just give us the food. Or if I really did just play it off well enough, like my eyes aren't red and I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
But, like, it really did get to a point where it's like, okay, my bosses don't know, the police don't know, my peers don't know.
Yeah.
The DMV doesn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like I could just be stoned all day and nobody seems to care.
Right.
And then, so that's why I could say confidently since 2013, I've been stoned. So I thought even though everybody says, weed's not addicting and there's no withdrawals, I was like, there's got to be something.
It for sure is addictive.
There's got to be something.
Because the confusion is, they equate it to nicotine or cigarettes, right? And the substance itself is not addictive. It's
the habit.
It's the things you are gaining from it that you associate to weed, right? And we were talking about this briefly off podcast before we started. And it's at the end of the day, it's that novelty dopamine kind of pursuit that most marijuana smokers tend to kind of pursue, and don't realize that their brains subconsciously continually kind of look for it, right?
Yeah, and people ignore, like, I think when people think of addiction, they think of just like heroin, alcohol, benzodiazepine, like things that like can kill you or have clear signs of withdrawals. But like when you bring in weed, you start to think about the higher spectrum of things that are addictive.
Right.
Sex, caffeine, sugar, like there's plenty of other things that we're getting all this dopamine from that nobody really talks about.
Right.
That people are addicted to. If you drink 800 fucking milligrams of caffeine a day, you have an addiction.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, sugar's an addiction. Sex addicts.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? There's a word, addict, that gets attached to it. But, if you stop eating sugar all the time, you're not going to, like, start shaking and have to go to a hospital.
Right.
And that's the same thing with weed. I think it's like you're not going to have, like, a physical withdrawal that makes you sick as much as, like, you're going to have just a craving that it's up to you to fight.
Right.
Right? Like, there's no, like, the best example, like I said, is when I was 25 and I quit nicotine the first time. I was a cigarette smoker since we were 18 when we were doing that musical, and I found out that menthol made me sing higher. You remember that, I'm assuming. I was singing.
I make the connection.
I was singing with the children when I was smoking menthols in that play. Like, I registered into a girls level octave. I was an alto.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was helping with the soprano parts.
Yeah.
That fat gay dude, Greg, was the one who told me, he's like, no, you're an alto now. Like, you're not a tenor anymore.
Yeah.
Sick. Yeah, and we'd lost that all over the last decade smoking, but because I don't have falsetto anymore at all. It's gone. I just squeak or I just lose air. It's completely gone.
Same.
But like smoking cigarettes super tough, and then that went into vape, and like where at the time we thought vape was better. Like, it never left my pocket, it never left my hand. As soon as I gave up weed, well, here we are again. Yeah. It doesn't. This little vape here doesn't leave my hand pretty much, but. My point being, when I did give up nicotine and I went like a couple of years without it, the first month or two, was actually hard. There was actual withdrawals. I was finding myself getting very irritated very fast over nothing. That was like a real, like, I can physically feel this withdrawal.
Yeah.
Giving up weed has more just been like, oh, well, normally right now I'd smoke a bowl.
Right.
Well, I guess I won't.
Right.
And then it just ends there. Like I all I did was I took my bong and I cleaned it and I just put it away. And I put my grinder away and I cleaned off the table where I hang out. So now Bubbles has his shit on the table still, his rig and his bong and everything else. But where I sit, it's not right there, not right in front of me. So it's a little easier to just not reach in front of me and pack a bowl. But there is still moments where I go, oh yeah, that'd be... It's almost like, it's so weird to describe because it's just part of your thinking process. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like eating or taking a shit. You're just like, oh yeah, smoke a bowl. No, wait a minute, no, don't do that. And then it goes away. Like where with nicotine, it was like, oh man, I'm gonna fucking rip somebody's fucking head off. I need to get out of here. This is bad. With weed, it's just like, all right, yeah, no, don't smoke that. And then you just kind of keep going about your day. So. I think habits are addicting, and dopamine is definitely addicting. But weed itself, withdrawals-wise, is not.
Right. Yeah.
And that's where, I think a big problem is that we just use these big, vague, overarching words like addiction. You know what I'm saying? When that's really a spectrum. You know what I'm saying? You be addicted to exercise, you're not gonna shake and freak out if you stop. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you could also be addicted to like alcohol. And where you have to maybe even go to the hospital if you try to stop. Some people, alcohol and benzos are the only two things that when you quit, you can't quit cold turkey because you can actually die.
Yeah.
And, you know, people think heroin and all that, but that's actually not true. It's easier to quit like heroin and meth than it is like benzos and alcohol.
On like a lethality level, yeah.
Yeah. Like you won't die. Like you might get fucked up. You might get really sick, and maybe you should be watched. But alcohol will kill you when you give up on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's like it is, but it's not addicting, right? Like,
right.
Like I'm not suffering from not having it, and I definitely think it's easier to walk away from than you think. I think that's a big thing I want to like share with people, especially if you're listening to this and you're an all-day stoner and you're thinking, "Oh no, John's a faggot now. He's not smoking weed." I'm not walking away from weed forever, okay? But also, it is good to know that if you did want to walk away, those negative thoughts that you're having about it, it's way easier than you think. It really will just leave your mind.
Right.
Like it doesn't control you as much as you think you're letting it control you.
Sure.
Because as soon as you actually walk away, you'll just realize like, oh, I'm fine. In fact, I have all this time now. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I realized like what I've done with like relationships over it, like, you know, never wanting to go do anything, you know, because I just wanted to stay home all the time.
Right.
It's not that I was a homebody. It's because I didn't want to leave the bong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not that I didn't like adventure. It's because I could just be sitting here smoking.
Yeah, the comfort was what you pursued. Yeah.
Exactly. And like, you know, now I'm starting to just kind of see all those things in a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
not like, you know, there isn't a relationship that I've had that I want to be in again. You know, so it's not like, oh my God, I ruined it. Like, I was with such a good girl. No. But I do see now, like, oh yeah, I kind of was being like a lazy prick. Like there was times like where it's like, oh yeah, I could have, if I wasn't smoking weed, I probably wouldn't have been that way. You know?
Yeah.
Probably would have been a little bit more open to certain things.
No, yeah, and I don't, you know, and I've been kind of like keeping notes, you know, because like I've also been kind of on this pursuit of trying to figure out like what is addiction, like really, you know, right, you know, but to your original, what we were just talking about, the idea that being lazy is like I was just being lazy. It's like you're not being lazy, right? You were just more motivated to pursue something that like gives you pleasure, right?
Exactly.
Right? It's not about being lazy, right? Like people who play video games and sit down and just quote unquote do nothing all day, they're not lazy, right? They're just more motivated to play video games because they give you something that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
It gives you escapism or immersion, whatever, right?
Yeah,
you know,
and
right?
we've talked about that. What is it? The satisfaction of completing a goal. Right, where in video games it gives you that at like a crazy level.
Correct.
Right, you're constantly winning
you're
and
being
accomplishing.
Fulfilled, exactly.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
you're getting a little bit of dopamine as you go.
Yeah,
right. So once we kind of learn about like what is addiction, right? And addiction is at its base level something that somebody pursues in the pursuit of pleasure, I should say. Right.
Yeah.
Something that is repeatedly pursued in the idea or desire of pleasure, something that makes you feel good, right? That's basically what it is, right? And it gets maybe in the way, or it becomes like your only function in some eyes, you know, right? But I guess my point being is that addiction is something that you just pursue that's pleasurable, right? And that can come in many forms, right? That can come, like we were saying before. But at the same time, you have to recognize that it's usually not necessarily like a harmful thing in the sense that you are using it to protect yourself in some way or another, right? There's something about yourself or something that you are missing, right? It could be novelty, for example. So we had this conversation again off show beforehand, but it's this idea of everyone remembers when they first started smoking weed or nicotine, whatever, having sex, right? You know, they remember those first, like, oh my God, this is new, right? This is awesome, right? You know,
same thing with like food,
right? You know, but
start chasing a dragon,
especially with weed. I from my personal experience, and I've kind of been making these connections, is that when you turn into a long-term smoker is when you start using weed as your main source of dopamine,
Yes.
like source,
Yeah.
or pursuit,
Yeah.
right? So, like, and everyone, I want to outline this because I think everyone has this exact same, feeling. You start smoking once, it's awesome with your friends or by yourself, whatever, right? Then you try it again a couple days later, and you're watching a movie, right? Then it comes with a little bit before video games, and then a little bit before you eat, maybe, right?
Yeah.
And then just those little things, it becomes an attachment with everything. And now you are removing dopamine or excitement from the original thing that you were going to do, and now you've attached it to or associated it to marijuana, right?
Yeah, and then you get to this point where it's like you need it to do things. Like
Correct.
You're gonna have a meal, smoke before
Right.
the meal. You're gonna take a shit, smoke
Right.
before the shit. Smoke before the shower. Smoke
Right.
before you go to work.
Right.
Smoke before you exercise. Smoke before you do yard work. You know what I'm saying? And then smoke after to
Yeah.
reward yourself.
Yeah.
And like I remember hearing people say that back in the day and being like, "That's a problem," and
Right.
then realizing that that's who I was
Right.
now.
Right.
You know, and now there is a point where it becomes detrimental. Like Bubbles. Bubbles has now gotten to the point where he quit. He deleted his Netflix. He deleted his Hulu. He deleted his Amazon Prime, and his Xbox Live, because he can't afford them anymore. You know what he can't afford? Way too much wax.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and he smokes like he can't, like, it's crazy because he'll take a dab, a huge dab, and he'll be coughing his brains out, loading out the next dab. He can never take one at a time. Yesterday, our buddy came up. He rolled this big ass blunt, and like I told you off air, like I just decided to just lift weights. Like I wasn't gonna leave the room like a pussy and be like, I can't be around the smoke. I think those people are retarded.
Yeah.
If you're one of these, I don't care if your feelings get hurt at all. If you're one of these people that freak out because you're in a room full of smoke, eat my dick. You're a pussy. Okay, like you're literally just making a scene to try to make people feel like you're above them. You're not gonna, unless they're blowing it into your mouth or you're in a fucking 5x5 room, you're not gonna get stoned off your ass. You're not gonna fail a drug test. Like,
Sure.
calm down.
Sure.
Right? So they're smoking a blunt. They're gonna smoke a blunt. He rolls this fat ass blunt, huge. There's only two of them that are about to smoke like a 4-gram blunt,
Damn.
big,
Hell yeah.
King Kong finger big.
Hell yeah.
And Bubbles still has to take a huge dab first.
Yeah.
And I told him, I tried to
why.
stop him. I was like, hey, are you about to pregame that blunt with a dab?
Yeah.
And it means nothing to him. And then his buddy asked him to come to the house and watch his daughter for a little bit so he can go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
And what does he do? He loads up his dab rig and his torch.
Yep.
And I asked him, I was like, are you doing drugs in front of his daughter? And he goes, no, I smoke outside while she's in her room. And I was like, so you're not watching her whatsoever. He's asking you to watch her. You're just going to go over there and hide in the backyard and do drugs till he comes home. And then he just gets upset and walks away. And he's like, it is what it is.
Yep.
And it's like, so he's kind of the example of weed can be addicting to a detrimental level.
yeah.
He's given up everything that he loves.
That is
to
in my
get high.
eyes, and in my eyes, that is genuinely substance abuse.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
then he's got this one friend who works at a dispensary who is constantly loaning him pot. And I'm not going to say his name out loud because I don't want to insult him, but it's not okay.
Yeah.
Like every time I see him, he's either giving him more wax or he's collecting him money from him. He overdrafts Bubbles every single month.
Yeah.
Every month he overdrafts and he owes this guy money for pot.
Yeah. No.
You know what I'm saying? And like I try to talk to his mom about it. She just agrees. She'll do nothing about it. He's not going to change whatsoever.
Well, because Bubbles is Bubbles.
Yeah,
he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like it's like that. He's like the example of like, oh, okay, you can go too far.
Yeah.
This is too far.
Yeah.
Because like as much as we want to say, or some people that are going to be like this whole like weed's not addictive thing.
Yeah.
Well, he's given up everything he loves for it.
Yeah.
So yes, it is. You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
I think
Like,
that people whose immediate response to this conversation right now is negative,
Yeah.
In my feelings, it's like, are you saying that because weed's part of your identity now? Like genuinely
Yeah.
think about that, right? Like,
Yeah.
is this conversation tilting enough for you right now to have negative feelings? Because if so, I think that's your internal self going like, hey, there's something there's a little bit of truth going on here, right?
Yeah,
'Cause,
yeah.
Like, otherwise, if you were totally comfortable with talking about the very possibility of weed being a territory of substance abuse for some people,
Yeah.
right? I think is something that if you feel negative against that,
Yeah.
you're probably either in that territory or homing in on it.
Yeah, and it's
right?
like-
Because you're making excuses for something that is replacing what was once pleasurable for you.
Exactly, and it's like once you get to the point where you're now giving up other things to get high,
Right. Yeah.
This is now addiction. Like, this is. I don't care if it's you want. Like you can stand on the hill all day about weed's good for you, and out of any drug,
Sure.
like it's
Sure.
best that you be on that.
Sure.
And I can agree with you, but you can't deny that once you start giving things up to get high,
Right. That's a
that you
problem.
have a problem.
That is basically in the ballpark of substance abuse.
Yeah,
Like,
you know what I'm saying? I
pretty
don't
much.
care what it is. Like
Yeah.
you're literally not living your own life anymore for drugs.
Yeah. Yeah, you're choosing to stall yourself. And especially people usually start discovering this. So like fast forwarding also to a part that I wanted to kind of highlight on is that there's a guy on YouTube that I follow, Dr. K, and he's great for anybody on YouTube who like is like that gamer mentality, that's kind of usually in isolated form. And he kind of deals with a lot of that, like people, stoners who usually isolate themselves, right? Or people who have kind of just been reserved for the most part.
Yeah.
And then he also works with like high performer people who are like hyper successful and shit, right? But he talks about how marijuana universally, across the board, for people who have been smoking a long time and then quit, they find that a lot of after a course of like a week, dopamine becomes something that is present out of things that they wouldn't expect, right? Because there is again a relation to dopamine depletion and marijuana, right? And when you smoke before everything that you do, right, the thing that you are going to go do now no longer has any dopaminergic. I think I'm saying that word right. Dopaminergic. I think that's the word.
Nice.
Dopamine, right?
Yeah.
That activity no longer gives you any kind of source of excitement, fulfillment, dopamine, whatever, right? You already got that, or at least tried to, with marijuana, right? And then when you get to a point where that no longer is given that to you anymore, and you're just smoking endlessly in search of that pursuit, when you cut cold turkey, dopamine begins to become a kind of, your mind starts hunting for it. It starts craving it, right?
Yeah.
Almost in a way that you don't really expect. You
Yeah.
know, like because people call it clarity, quote unquote. It's less so clarity and more so your mind kind of like, oh my god, I'm not being fed the thing I'm always being fed. I need anything. Give me anything. Like it could be a book, for all all I care. Right at this point.
I have found like pretty much immediately that I need to be doing something.
Right, and that's your mind going,
Right.
give me something,
Yeah,
please.
like if it's exercise, if it's doing a chore, like, and it's weird because the one thing that it's not, unfortunately, it's video games. Like,
yeah, right.
I tried playing Fallout the other day. I did one mission.
Yeah.
Didn't
It's
have it in
not
me
the
anymore.
same anymore. Yeah,
No.
dude.
Also, I think I'm too far into that game. Like,
I stopped playing also too.
I like that game, but I've gotten to the point I'm 100 hours in and my guns don't kill anymore. And like it's just annoying because I know that the guns I have the highest tier parts from point A all the way to point Z.
Yeah, Bethesda scales with you.
And like
that's how their game design is. Yeah.
it just stops killing them. Like it gets to the point where it's like I gotta go through like 4 clips with my best gun to kill one ghoul.
Right.
And there's a lot of them, and
Right.
like it's just like a lot of running away again, and it's just like, okay, that's fine in the beginning of a game, but if you're like towards like end game and you can't kill anymore, but also you can't scale up your weapons anymore,
Yep.
it's like what fun is that
That's
now?
that's
like,
how Bethesda's always designed
yeah,
their
it's
games.
like you just like now I just don't want to fucking play it because I can't get better gear. I've killed it. I have the Marine combat armor.
Yeah.
and I'm still getting fucking mollywopped.
That's a whole another conversation of fulfillment through leveling and growing and like being challenged. You know?
Yeah.
Bethesda's game mechanics have always been around the idea that no matter what level you're at, you should be challenged. Period. You know,
and that's
Which
cool. But
it's cool, right?
But it has gotten to
Anyways.
a level. Well, it's just gotten to a level where I feel like I can't level up anymore, but they still are.
I got bored of Fallout 4 also.
Yeah,
I
so
kind of stopped playing a while ago.
I'm trying to figure out what my next game's gonna be. I'm thinking. Part of me wants to play Red Dead 2 because I jumped into Red Dead 2 I think in chapter 3, because Bubbles was playing, and then I took over and finished it for him. Because that's how we play video games. Now that I have PlayStation,
He starts, yeah.
Well, it's that he sucks and has no attention span. So I will play the game to the finish, and then he gets to walk around, full stats, full gear, and just terrorize and have fun, right? Like, he's played so much Red Dead since I finished it, he's out of money.
Nice.
Bro, you know how much money you get at the end of Red Dead?
All of it?
All of it. And everything costs nothing.
Yeah.
And he still ran out.
He
pays his bounties.
That's
he's
weird.
fucking stupid.
I wonder what he buys.
He'll kill everybody in the town and then pay the bounty.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's fair.
Just fucking dumb.
That's fair, I guess.
Oh yeah, until you get to nothing, and then now you can't. Now you're past end. Now you're past end game. You have no real way of making money except for looting bodies to get 7 cents at a time.
Yeah.
And you're running out of ammo, and it's just okay, now you have nothing. And you have no way of getting more of it.
That sucks.
But
that sucks. I mean, what is
for the years of gameplay, though, I mean, it was worth it. He's still someone playing it now, and I beat that game from a long fucking time ago.
Yeah.
Now,
that's cool.
I thought about playing it on my PlayStation because I know they updated it, so it's prettier, which is hard to even imagine. But I played it on a shitty TV on an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One. Now I can play a PS5 on a 4K TV. And they updated it and made the resolution and everything better. So part of me wants to play it because I know it's going to be an incredibly pretty game.
Yeah.
When it was already an incredibly pretty game.
It's even more of a cinematic experience.
But it's so slow.
Yeah.
Just the thought of riding the horse from one city to the other makes me want to fall asleep.
I don't know, dude. I think that was a game that was probably good for one experience, and then
it's a one and done, Witcher. I think Witcher was a one and done.
Too big of a game.
Too big to want to do that again.
Great game, excellent game.
Best game.
Too big to play twice.
Yeah, just can't do it.
I think they knew that though.
Yeah.
That's probably why they designed it the way they did.
Yeah. Where Skyrim is huge, but you keep playing. Witcher is one of those I got it.
Skyrim, has an interesting combination of replayability because of the skill tree, right? And also just the way that you can approach the game in any different angle, right?
Yeah, I thought about I have 2 different runs in mind if I wanted to try Skyrim again. I would either want to go the Legolas Supreme Archer run, where all I do is shoot arrows. I don't even have a sword. And if I'm out of arrows, then I'm just running, hope for the best.
Yeah, dude.
Trying to kill people with my little short daggers.
Or
just a 2-handed rapist. Just an orc that can't read, speak good.
Yeah, I've done that before. Berserker orc. Yeah. That is arguably
murder
the hardest build to play Skyrim in.
I can imagine.
Because there's not a whole lot of cool, beneficial skills. It takes a lot of stamina. The swings are slow, and so you have to hit them if you miss.
Yeah, you got to get your timing right.
Yeah, and then a lot of times in dungeons, you enter a room that's filled with things.
Yeah.
And without a way to quickly kill things or at least reduce the amount of enemies or tank you know what I mean? It's you have to be damn near perfect. When doing 2-hand only specifically.
And the first time I played, I went sword and heal.
Yeah,
which was such a fun way to play.
So much fun,
but I wouldn't want to do that the second time.
Yeah, I think
because I feel like that's a waste. I feel like you should play it differently.
Well, no, I don't know. I honestly, everyone who is in the Skyrim community at some point will or have already done the stealth archer build.
Yeah.
It's just because it's just so OP. I don't know, have you done that at all?
No,
Dude,
I didn't fire a single arrow.
You should give it a shot.
I didn't fire a single fucking arrow.
Maybe put that in your report, in your queue then, because arguably stealth archer is not only the most satisfying thing ever, but it is so fucking strong, not only early but into late games, and you can abuse the fuck out of it.
And one thing that's happened since I played Skyrim is I played all the Assassin's Creeds.
Oh, cool.
So I know the benefit. I know how to be a stealth archer.
Yeah, exactly. You should give it a shot.
I think I would.
It's a fun build.
And and one thing I guess to go back on what I was saying, even if I did do Sword and Heal again, Skyrim is the kind of game where you could probably do that 5 times and have a different experience each time.
Right.
Because the sequence in which case the story is going to play will be different.
Correct.
You don't want it to be the same, well then start in the north. And then next time go south.
Yeah.
Right? Don't go straight to whatever that one big city's called, White Ridge or whatever. What's the...
Whiterun.
Whiterun. Don't go to Whiterun. Fuck Whiterun.
Yeah, right in the center.
Just go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that.
Yeah, and especially as if you happen to be able to play on PC. You know,
Yeah.
there's tons of mods for like alternate start where you start in a completely different location with entirely different like quest in the beginning. You know, there's so many ways to play Skyrim. Not only on a vanilla level, but because of the modding community too. You know, I know you don't have a PC, but it would be a crazy experience.
The nice thing about PlayStation 5 is that you can mod.
Oh, they did add mods.
Like Fallout.
Sick.
Fallout
Sick.
had all the mods available and shit.
Oh, that's right.
Which that made me want to play Fallout. Okay, this was the bummer. When I waited until I bought the DLCs to even look at the mods in Fallout, and now I'm just like, fuck. There's like a whole. It immediately gave me another reason to just start over. Like one of the mods in Fallout is VR, so you can in your camp build VR stations and have your settlers be in a whole different universe. Where basically it's like Ready Player One.
What the fuck?
You can lock them in like a steel house or concrete fortress so nothing can ever hurt them. And then they'll all just be in their beds with their VR helmets on and be at like a nice pristine beach. Or some giant castle. Like,
yeah.
So like those mods were like crazy already, and like I also learned like if I would have done the DLCs a little earlier and kind of fit them into the game as I played, I think I would have enjoyed it more.
Sure.
Like instead of getting all the way to the point where I nuked the Institute and then playing, maybe play Far Harbor like 20, 30 hours in instead of 100.
Yeah.
You get the combat marine armor way earlier in the game. And same thing with like the Nuka-Cola thing. Like I think the Nuka-Cola thing would be way more interesting if you had some game to play afterward, you know?
Yeah.
So I definitely like saw that mistake, and it gave me a reason to where in the future there could be another Fallout 4 run, which is great. And yeah, same thing with Skyrim is like now you could start using the mods.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
So I wonder like this time I would
infinitely better experience.
This time I would like actually look at the mods before I started playing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Decide whether or not, because I've already played one Skyrim.
Yeah.
Which means now, like, the whole, like, well, I don't want to cheat thing is over.
How much of Skyrim did you do in the first playthrough?
A lot.
Do you remember, like, okay, so you did Companions Guild, you did the Dark Brotherhood, you did the Thieves Guild.
I am the Dragonborn.
You are the Dragonborn.
Yep.
You did the Blades shit, right?
Yep.
You went to the, what is it, the fucking, in Windhelm?
I would say the only thing that I knew about...
Mages Guild. You did the Mages Guild?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The only thing I knew about that I didn't do, and it's because I fucked it up too early in the game, is where you collect, like, the 7 masks.
Oh, sure. I was going to say that was my next.
And I realized, when I finally realized what that was, I think I had already sold, like, 1 or 2, and I had no idea which merchant was going to have them.
Yeah.
And if you do that in that game, bro, good fucking luck.
Yeah.
There's so many merchants.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
who knows?
That's just how it is with that game, you know, right?
But,
the dragon masks, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, you did the Civil War, right? The between the Stormcloaks and the
Yeah.
You chose a side.
I played the fuck out of that game.
Did you choose Imperials or Stormcloaks? Do you remember?
Stormcloaks.
Word.
Yeah.
The Rebellion.
I remember that. I remember that because that's when you invade Whiterun, right? No.
Yeah. Whiterun is if you choose Stormcloaks, you do invade Whiterun.
Yeah,
correct?
so I was Stormcloaks. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I played the shit out of that game. I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it. That was my first.
Sounds like you did most everything.
That was my first grand scale RPG, and I really did just kind of wander.
Dude.
But I'm
there's a magic that they created there that I don't know if they can reproduce, you know?
I know, it's crazy because it's so old, but it's like still the best they've ever done.
Right. You know,
like,
Morrowind's
Elden
also
Ring is,
really good too.
Like Elden Ring just had a DLC, and it's still like, I'd still rather play Skyrim again.
A bunch of people actually have mixed feelings about Elden Ring's DLC right now.
Yeah.
Because we're entering the territory. Long story short, there's both extreme sides. There's the get good side, and there's the like, well, this is not really like, this is kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Point being is that we're entering the territory of where difficulty is now just infinite combos where you have to like just dodge all of them and then wait for your turn to get a hit in, and then you're just back to like dodging again, right? The boss has just more HP with no real mechanics. Or there's like a one hit fucking combo and or single swing that you just have to make sure you're dodging.
Yeah.
My point being is that they're emphasizing the fights are becoming more about being perfect rather than kind of discovering a hidden mechanic or an objective or
a pattern,
something. Right?
Or,
yeah.
Like Ganondorf will kill you every time easily unless you figure out the pattern for Ganondorf.
Right.
In which case you could start killing him without even getting touched.
Right, and then that goes into the whole like pattern, but the infinite combo thing, that's just that on roids, where you get one chance to go a little bonk before they're back into a combo pattern again, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and the point that I made with when I was talking about this with the boys on Discord a while ago was that I think From Software is looking at difficulty too like narrow-mindedly, or at least like too like individually, right?
Yeah.
Difficulty can be things from more health and more, I don't know, attacks and combos to mechanics and objectives, right? Like maybe certain things fall from the ceiling that give you access to blah, 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 or this certain buff to deal with this thing or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, maybe there's a certain combo that you have to dodge, but then leaves it vulnerable afterwards for a follow-up.
Yeah.
That, I don't know, like
I think
just a variety of different ways they need to think outside the box other than just being like, all right, just be perfect and dodge everything and then you'll be good.
I think Ghost of Tsushima is a good example of that because in Ghost, if you don't like pay attention and fight correctly, it does seem like it's just a lot of one-hit kills. Like you have just no chance. But then you learn how to dodge and parry correctly. You learn how to use the right fighting style to fight the right person.
Sure, yeah.
And then you start to like do some pretty crazy shit in that game, and your survivability goes up. But then just as well, you can have all the best gear and everything. But if you don't do that, you're just gonna die.
Right.
Right. So I think Ghost is like a good entry level into that. Like perfect player shit, because you don't have to be perfect, but you got to be close.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you will just fail the boss battle over and over and over again until you figure out.
Yeah, and it's again like it's all under. It's not that these games are bad. I just think that we've been outputting so many Dark Souls games, Sekiro.
Yes.
That are around this framework of pattern recognition, knowing when a big, huge fuck you smash attack is coming your way, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and whether to roll or when to parry. And
and we're only doing that now, right?
Yeah.
And so when this DLC came out, and it's just that's exact same thing, but just amped up. These fights turn into like literally you're waiting for your turn to do something in these boss fights.
In which
right?
case, you might as well just go play old Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You're in a way you're right. You're kind of devolving into turn based. You're just trying to dodge shit.
Yeah, when's my turn? There it is. Bing.
I think they need
3
to.
damage.
I think they need to now take the format that they have and find some ways to add objectives into bosses, right?
Yeah.
I think that will freshen it up for now.
I think that was really fun about the God of War bosses was because it was like a lot of like dodge parry, but then every now and then you get a hit right and it opens a minigame sequence where you have to like mash buttons correctly. Like it'll be like circle, L1, R1. Now mash square as many times as you can.
Right.
While you're mashing it, the mouth is closing on you, but at the same time, if you're mashing fast enough, you're opening it. Like just like like little like mini games within the fight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're still in the fight, but then you're also triggering these little moments.
Right.
And it also gives you an opportunity to have big cinematic moments in the fight.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the coolest things about the boss fights in God of War is that they are incredibly cinematic because of those. Where it's not as much like dodge slash. Eventually the HP bar goes down, and maybe you get to 30% and 60% health, and there's a small cutscene. Where God of War is like smash. Oh shit! Button sequence. Look at the crate. Like he just fucking jumped up on the goblin and put a sword through his eye, and now he's fucking yanking on the chains and making him go left and right, and does a triple flip. And
dude.
If you miss a button, then he fails and he gets fucking launched into the ground at 100 miles an hour.
Right. And while that may for anybody kind of questioning, it's like, well, that's a different kind of like game, obviously. It's like, well, it's not that the action button sequence thing is what the Elden Ring or whatever needs. It's the fact that is there to break up this monotonous otherwise gameplay, right?
Yeah.
It is there to drive interest in different ways. So like, for example, one thing that popped into my mind, what you could do is maybe you're fighting a boss that has this crazy combo thing, right? But maybe you add in like, maybe every time it does this like lunge attack, it lunges forward. And I noticed that, there's a walkway in this huge fucking otherwise arena. There's like a walkway along the wall that rises me up to a little peak right above them, right? And maybe I can lure this boss over to this peak spot, right?
Yeah.
And then I can get up on there and do a dive bomb attack or something that otherwise, you could maybe beat the boss without that. But if you didn't notice that was there, that's an objective to kind of find, to not only spice up the game, but you found that yourself in a way.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't be like, oh, this is the only way to beat the boss. This could help you if you didn't know how to beat yourself. Frees up people who want to go, well, I just want to fight the boss without any help. They can still do that. But the people who kind of want to experience the game in a different way, that are bored of that same perfect dodge bullshit, they have an option to play it slightly differently. I'm not saying that's the solution, but I do think that style of thinking is more effective to dynamic gameplay than just like, big boss, big house.
And the overall point is like it's getting stale. It's getting stale.
Totally.
We're done with it. We played Dark Souls. It was great. You don't have to just keep doing that over and over and over again. Like, figure out a way to make it more interesting. Don't just copy paste. Don't just turn the speed dial up a little bit. Like figure out a way to juice this up a little bit in a different way too. I'm trying to figure out, like, I mean, I didn't play Tears of the Kingdom yet. So it might be time for that run.
I played a little bit, but didn't get too far into it.
Did it just feel like the same game, like Breath of the Wild?
More or less. I'm sure there's a lot of it that's, because again, I maybe got like 6 hours in. I did not get far.
Yeah, I mean, I tried playing Breath of the Wild again, and I remember the first time I played Breath of the Wild, I was hands down saying this is like the best game that's ever been created. And like playthrough number 2, I don't even think
it's different.
I think I got like my little glider, and I was already like, I'm bored.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think for Legend of Zelda, for us, the excitement was with how new. Because Breath of the Wild was a whole new step for Zelda, So that alone was just exciting, and just the way they approached things was all brand new. So, like, I think a lot of that is no longer present, And the game is not bad at all.
No, I mean, it won a lot of awards and shit.
But there's plenty of games that have that same vibe where the first time you play, it's kind of like it's the only time you need to play it. Again, Witcher, a kind of Red Dead, in my opinion. Also,
The Last of Us, I've heard, is just a.
Play it once, you're good.
Yeah, I've heard The Last of Us is really, really good, but it is one of those.
Uncharted's probably another one I'd say too.
Yeah,
great.
But once you're done, you're done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I might play The Last of Us too, or both of them, because that's one of those games they've remastered 3 times now.
Yeah.
They did another remaster for the PS5 for both of them. Yeah, and I just rewatched the series again like this week.
Oh, nice.
And still fucking loved it.
Yeah.
So good, so good. Like, god damn it.
Yeah,
I mean that's my favorite. I think that's my favorite zombie anything because it makes the most sense.
Right.
It's the only zombie.
It's
the only zombie movie game thing ever.
Right.
That I'm like, yeah, that could happen.
Sure.
Global warming is true, and mycelium is everywhere. Yeah. So, fuck. Like that's an actual good one right there. That's scary.
Yeah. No, that's what everyone always is. Touts pride of The Last of Us is they spent a lot of time on making things make sense,
Yeah.
And like it's always a believable scenario for the most part,
Yeah. Like every other one was, every other zombie fucking anything. Yeah. It was like, I don't know, there was an infected, he got everybody.
Yeah, and Joel is the duality of man, basically, right? The duality of somebody who's broken and trying to heal, but also is kind of not twisted is not the right word, but is haunted by bad decisions, in a way, right?
Yeah, he's killed a lot of people because he used to, he was out there fucking tricking people and killing them for their supplies and showed his brother and all that stuff.
Right, yeah.
And with Tess.
Part of him is consumed by that because it was so easy for him, he just did it.
Now he has this task to do the right thing, and he's constantly still kind of doing the wrong things, against his own, conscience and ego.
Right, and in some ways, he's doing the right thing by protecting Ellie, and because he, loves her. That's basically his daughter replacement, right? More or less. But at the same time, his judgment with emotion-driven choices, leads to greater disaster, right? And
who knows? Maybe Ellie could have been the the solution
Yeah.
to everything.
Right,
But
right.
He didn't want to lose his daughter
Nope.
again, so fuck that.
Yeah.
I'd rather the whole world still be the same
Yeah.
and crumble
The
than lose
The
my daughter
duality
twice.
of man, bro. Yeah, 100%.
It's fucking beautiful. Yeah, I might play this. I might play this.
It's a good game. I guess
think it's just if like
it's not really a game, but
I think my biggest thing is, do I want to pay and play like the newest remaster and get like the most like prettiest version, or for like $4 just play the original, right? And like it
probably
is what
have
it
to
is.
look at the difference between the two and see, because if
it looks pretty good.
if it's
the new ones.
only a graphic remaster,
it is, I think. Yeah.
you
Well, I
know.
think that's what Red Dead too. Like it's just they just made it prettier. you know?
Yeah, because like the first game was already decent looking as is.
Yeah.
know?
I
Like,
I need to watch some more trailers.
It's one of those things like, are you willing to pay out full dollars on something that realistically only has one feature difference from the original game?
Yeah.
That is a fraction of the price. It's that kind of.
Yeah, but
you
at
know.
the same time, like if you're playing Sony, it's probably because you're a cinematic gamer.
That's true. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, yeah. Again, I guess maybe not again, but the weight of that feature is, relative to everybody. I guess.
Yeah, that's why it's like, oh man, I don't know. Like, I could just get the original version for like $6.99, maybe even get a bundle pack with both. But for like $21.99, this is the second time they remastered it, and it looks pretty fucking awesome. But realistically, it's going to be the same game. That's what. But it's also. I mean, I'm a cinematic gamer enough to where it's not just a clear decision.
Yeah, I was gonna say another thing to think about is like if you can confidently say you'll probably finish the game, then maybe go for the remaster.
Yeah.
But if any part of you's unsure, maybe hesitate a little bit.
I think I need to see some actual gameplay.
Yeah.
You know,
Do some
so,
research because
like-
I've burned myself so many times going like, yeah, I'll love this game, and then maybe play like 4 hours, 5 hours.
Yeah, I feel that.
Right. So many times. I have a huge backlog on Steam on my computer that with I'm sure more than 10 games on there I have not even opened.
Oh, I've got that new Yakuza game on my PlayStation I barely even touched. I've got Red Dead I didn't even touch. Like I think I've got 3 games downloaded otherwise that are just downloaded and ready to go that I'm not even fucking with.
Yep.
Well, folks, how about this? JB Thickness at Instagram. Send me your game. You tell me what I should play next.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. I want another game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm open to kind of almost any type of game, like I play racing games.
Yeah.
I play shooters.
Yeah.
I even play card games, bro. I'll play fucking Yu-Gi-Oh on my phone.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'm not
Hell
afraid
yeah.
of that shit.
Yeah,
so-
dude, you're gonna be pursuing dopamine in a new way, bro.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So if you got a game that you really love, and especially if you've never heard us talk about it, or maybe even you have, maybe you want to double down on Dark Souls or something, send it to me at JB Thickness. I'll be looking out for them, and maybe you can be the one who helps me choose the next one.
Hell yeah.
All right, talk to you next week, folks.
Bye.